All right, people. Anyone tuning into this here transmission? It is I. It is that time and the place in the universe again. I'm still Zycon Ebb and Flow, sitting down with this beautiful soul right here, Timothy Morris. This is our first digital face-to-face interaction. Dude, I this so generally what's been the trend has been just finding people on threads and just kind of like doing the whole cold messaging or DMs or like commenting on things, just because like we see their art and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Let's see if they'll be on the show. But I was listening to my music on YouTube, and then the autoplay kind of just pushed me into one of your songs. Let me see, I pulled
Yeah.
it up to be able to actually correctly reference it here. It was who we are live at the View,
hmm
uh, and I was just like, this is dope. This is great. I don't know.
Thank you. Mhm.
You're welcome, obviously, but sometimes I just feel like I'm a terrible fan, and I have to kind of like coax myself or like push myself a little bit to like try to go out of my way to listen to like new music or music that I'm not super familiar with. But when it's like that easy to just get into something, I'm like, this is good, fantastic, good. Here we are.
I love that.
Yeah, man, it's fucking sick. No one's ever told me that they want less good music or less money in their life, so that's kind of like where I go, where my head's at with that stuff like this. But yeah, so Tim makes music. If I can call him Tim, I don't know for
That's
that
perfect.
yeah, for that familiar, but we'll pretend like we are. And makes music, and then beyond that, we could be completely honest. I would be oblivious to any other type of art that you make. So if you want to let the people know,
It's really just music for me.
mhm.
I could never draw or anything. My handwriting's horrible. Um, yeah, it was the only thing that really captured my attention. Um, and kind of went all in on it. It's only been like in the last couple years where I started to not necessarily other types of art, but just other interests that I realized I kind of needed to split my time a little more. And so it really just things like getting back into childhood interests like sports and different, you know, TV shows and stuff to
Sure,
where like my brain was getting more stimulation, different styles of things.
sure. Do you I don't know if suffer is the right word, but do you feel like you fall into the category of like monomania, like a one track kind of like just go and don't stop with it?
It felt like that for a long time. Yeah, it's sometimes you feel like a prisoner of your art, you know,
Yeah.
for sure. Um, yeah, it's yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to explain that right now.
Yeah. Just genuinely curious because sometimes, yeah, how you're saying like being a prisoner to it, or specifically,
Yeah, the way that it gives back is the opposite of instant gratification. You know, it is a way, it's a form of therapy for me to write out the things that are happening or put those feelings somewhere, um regardless regardless of the specifics. It's always more of a feeling. It's a little more abstract for me. um yeah, I don't know where I'm going with that.
yeah, I was pontificating on like feeling stuck in stylistic motifs, at least with songwriting. Like I have a very like mono, like or like one track kind of like I need the rhymes to be the way that they are. And I can't speak for you, but I don't know if that's
Yeah, I know that feeling, and I think that for me it gets stale pretty fast.
yeah.
um if I find myself writing the same type of song over and over again using the um same rhyme schemes and whatnot. I'm always trying to push that forward. So, but then like we all have our human limitations, um, and and that's also what creates your style because you're not ever going to be able to do everything that you want to do or everything that you like. But the things that you view as limitations a lot of the times are actually your strengths because that's what gives you your own voice um, as an artist or a writer. Um, there's things that I do repeat throughout that I find become a way of calling back to other pieces that I've written and kind of creating a little world in the music that if nobody else ever understands, at least I have it,
Mhm.
you know?
Sure. Right. There isn't that there's always a weird balance of like writing up something entirely for yourself versus like commercializing it to a point where you're trying to have the piece be palatable to more people or like quote unquote successful in that facet of it because success as an artist can be so like I don't know if daunting or unclear but
Mhm.
because it's just so in specific or like intentional like you could try to go for becoming famous or just the holistic doing this to heal myself and then if I ever share it with somebody and they get a benefit out of it that's just like a byproduct of the selfish I'm just healing process but
Yeah.
I don't know where
Yeah,
you fall.
there's a million definitions of success, especially in art. I think everybody has their own goal. I've always viewed it that success would be just to be able to do what I love for a living. Um, which is there's so many different ways that even that can look. Like is that playing covers or like is that finding some way that I can still play music or is it my own music supporting me? I think at this point in my life it's almost like that seems like a that's starting to feel like a pipe dream, of my own music supporting my life or my livelihood. Um but I am young.
Yeah, I was gonna say how I was gonna
Still,
wanted to know how old are you?
um 22.
Dog,
22.
like what the fuck? You
Uh
have so much time.
yeah, exactly. Um but in the last few years since I moved to Nashville, um I it took a while, but this year I've finally started to play with different artists
Hmm.
and and that teaches me a lot and teaches anybody a lot about not only their instruments but your relationships with the people that you play with and playing different styles, things like that. So that's been really valuable. And I've gotten in with like some cover acts and also playing other people's originals. That sort of widens the scope of doing what I love, which is playing music,
Right.
regardless. But yeah, so there's an element of yes, it would be ideal to be playing my own music more,
Mm.
but that it's never a bad thing to go and play a gig.
No, yeah, I mean it's just especially like the whole idea of like 10,000 hours or whatever that you
Mhm.
master the craft after 10,000 hours. I want to say hours of quality almost because you could put 10,000 hours into something and like be half-assing it the whole time, and realistically, it's only like 2 or 3,000 hours.
Right.
So is that there that a dedication and like constant monitoring of being like, am I just like going through the motions or am I actually like finding a way to challenge myself to improve at this thing that
Yeah.
is seemingly bottomless or endless. I mean, music, insofar as like the theoretical side of things, is like super can be super technical, but like mainstream like pop music. This is just like the 145, like it's just Western. How do you? It just sounds so good. How do you not do it every time, or get
Right.
in it, around it,
Yeah.
near it? And how you dabble and dance between like the trodden path of every fucking famous or successful artist that's done it before versus cutting out and slicing and carving and trailblazing your own path as an
Yeah.
artist or as a person.
Yeah. You definitely have to want it. You have to want to do it and to if you're ever gonna, put in enough time to be great at something, you just you have to want it or it's going to drive you insane.
Mhm.
Um and yeah, I do think that it depends too on if you're a musician or a songwriter, an artist. Like, those are two different crafts. Um, I think you also become accustomed to people that do both, where any successful, I don't know, there are so many different routes to writing a great song.
Mhm.
Um, like I work with my sister. Um, we put out an EP that it took us forever to make this EP. It was about 6 years for 4 songs. And that was valuable for me learning how to communicate ideas well listen to her ideas more like because that was it was really challenging. Um, the point being that she doesn't really play an instrument or anything. She's a singer
Mhm.
and she has you know a vision, and it
Right.
was my job to be the tool. No, that's not a good word, but like my job to be a tool,
Right.
um, but to utilize my skills to bring her vision to life. And I think that I've always been so used to doing everything myself. Um, from the time that I was like 13, um, I was writing songs and then recording, playing every instrument,
Mhm.
and that was born out of necessity because I'm from a small town of like 2,000 people and I didn't have anybody to play with.
Right.
And the death of live music is a whole other conversation, but
We'll get there.
but yeah, there's just many different paths to success
Right.
and
Right.
creation.
So I'm curious, how long, like when did you first pick up the instruments of any sort, or like when did you first like start?
Um, so my dad was a drummer, is is a drummer. He's in the band.
Oh shit.
Um, but yeah, he's been a professional musician for 40 years. So when I was growing up, that was just there. Drums were just there, and um, so I think I he always tells this story about me being not even one yet. I think he would correct me, but he would watch like Russian Rio or Paul McCartney back in the U.S. and I would sit on his lap and go like that, like on beat.
Mm.
He says, and so he like called my mom into the room and was like, "Look at this. It's not like he's just hitting. He's like that's technique." um, so he's like, "As soon as you were big enough, I put you behind a drum kit." So I was probably like one and a half, two. Um, and then over the years, I developed an interest in guitar because I always thought that that was maybe the cooler one. Um, and probably about 12 years old when I got into like Led Zeppelin and Van Halen, stuff like that, was around the time I decided to take it seriously or like really start to play guitar.
Mhm.
Um, and people have asked my dad, like, did you feel like betrayed when he switched from drums? He's like, no, because I need somebody to play guitar.
Right, dude. I want to play the drums. He can't play the drums. I want to do it.
Exactly. How- so then 10 years later, we're still playing together. So,
That's phenomenal, dude. That's like it's so. I don't know if inspiring is the right word, but it's just very like it's fucking awesome that your dad was just like saw that you had the natural talent inclination was like, here we go, we're going for it, send it.
yeah, yeah. He never forced anything on me. It just was in me,
Hmm.
from as long as I can remember.
Well, yeah, I mean it's like we're your father's progeny, so it's like he did it for 40 years or up until you were born before that, so it's like it was in your DNA the whole time. Like,
Yeah.
did you even have a choice?
I was not given a choice,
No, but it's
but
just like take this
that's from
drumstick.
here.
Right. Right, right.
Yeah.
The soul was like, ah, well, I picked that family because I want to be a great musician.
Could have been. Who
Yeah,
knows?
I lean that way, personally. But before we go down that rabbit hole or avenue, let's go back to the influences you had listed. Said Van Halen and not Metallica. Did you say Metallica?
Said Led Zeppelin.
Led Zeppelin. That's yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
different group,
I do like
obviously.
Metallica. Not
Hmm.
necessarily a huge influence, but I like them.
Sure.
Um, yeah, I remember my earliest memories are of The Killers, Jars of Clay, and Muse. Those were three like kind of modern bands that my parents were into.
Hmm.
And then just classic rock radio in general, and also my dad's bands and his original music and the cover band,
Sure.
which was like same classic rock stuff.
Yeah.
Um, so that's what I remember growing up on. Definitely shaped everything. Not shaped a lot of my taste today. Then yeah, around the time I was 12 was when I started really listening to different things. So that was Zeppelin, Pink Floyd, etc. Then Rush came around uh, 13 years old, and it it seems cliche, but it's like I remember hearing Rush, and it was like I gained consciousness that day,
That day.
and I still look back on it and think I wasn't me until I started listening to Rush, and
There you
so
go.
they're my favorite band and biggest influence, I would say. Um, and then the Beatles were shortly after that, and once those kind of evened each other out,
Yeah.
that started to shape what I do, I
Sure.
think. But there's so much music out there, and I like for years um had a hard time getting into anything because it was so daunting. I would take one artist and run with it for months,
Mm.
and a couple years ago I kind of started to even out on that too, like to where I kept a list of things that I want to listen to, and I was able to process it quicker as I
Mm.
got older,
Mhm.
I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so those were the core, but I like all kinds of stuff.
Yeah. I love Rush. No, that's the band name. Wow, I'm so smart. Tom Sawyer. That's the
Yeah.
song, right? That's it's probably like probably cliche in a way because it's more probably one of their biggest
Yeah,
famous songs. The
it
song,
is the biggest one,
but I
but I
fucking love
remember
it.
hearing that as a kid too and just loving that, because it wasn't like I'd never heard Rush,
Mhm.
just I wasn't listening to them, I guess. But that song was in an episode of Chuck. Have you ever seen Chuck?
Uh, yeah, I think so. Is that the?
It- it's the one where he gets this program put in his brain with all the government secrets, but it's like a comedy.
No, I haven't seen that. I feel like
Yeah,
I
I don't
should,
know.
but
It was a good show. It was on, but it was on when I was growing up, and there was an episode where that song was the code to beat this arcade game,
oh man,
but it was like rigged to set off a nuclear missile
of course.
if he didn't beat it. It was this insane plot point. But I remember watching that episode over and over again because of that song.
Fuck it, dude. Yeah, exactly, dude. Today's Tom Sawyer, me bean pie. I think is the
Oh
lyric.
yeah. I
I don't know, dude. That's
think
just
it's pretty sure it's Pride.
oh, probably. I was just fucking. I
Maybe
have a terrible tendency, especially.
Moon Pie, maybe.
I I literally could just look it up. It's just this thing where like I hear it and I don't take the time to look it up, so I just go with the closest thing.
Yeah. No,
Um,
there's a lot of Rush lyrics that are easily misunderstood.
oh yeah, I'm sure that's actually
That way.
one of my like things that a reservation I have about making like music in a way to that people can understand the words coming out of my mouth.
Right.
But I think it's almost unavoidable because it's just how like all the registers gonna eventually clash at some point, or unless the person mixing it is just like carving out that huge chunk of space just so you can, and you still gotta like try to enunciate and everything so
Yeah.
perfectly. Fucking impossible. Random.
Yeah.
Fucking.
It's easy to be misunderstood. It's a lot harder to be understood. It goes for everything.
Oh my god, I don't know why, but that is fucking hilarious to me. It's easier to be misunderstood. I mean, it might not feel better, but it probably is
Yeah, but
easier.
it's easier to do.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Probably the normal like zero state of just being a person is just being misunderstood, and then you gotta like
Exactly.
fight to try to
That
explain
doesn't
it to
take
other
any
people.
effort.
Yeah, exactly. This is how I live all the time. Oh man. All right. So here we are. Here we are. What just feels very out of left field, but this is where my mind is pulling us. What is beauty to you? What is beautiful?
Beauty.
Yeah.
Um, it's like I'm looking out the window right now, and it's just a, backyard with trees and grass, and I think that is beautiful. You know, and I think um there's elements of all of creation that is beautiful.
Mhm.
And, I think just comes from divine design. And I think the way that I would have to apply that to art is that I think art exists to reflect that truth. It exists to reflect life. Um, yeah, it's all pretty abstract, but I do think about that a lot. Think about the art is holding up a mirror to creation and to humanity.
Yeah, there's a lot of truth in what you said, especially like reflecting back the inner misunderstanding of the
Yeah,
personal soul back out into the world from the perspective of the artist, and in a way decoding or uh, interpreting culture and society at large, and being like depending on your the message and intention behind what the artist is doing, because sometimes it's just like freedom, free expressing of the self, and sometimes it's like creating a piece to make people think about what you're feeling or what you're thinking about, and trying to be like, do you see it this way, or is this true for you? Thinking
right,
specifically about like political cartoons or things of that nature, where it's like, is the writing on the wall for everybody else, or am I the only one seeing this shit right now? This is
right. Yeah.
crazy.
Am I the only one seeing this? Exactly. I think I feel like that a lot, and I think I put that into my art. Um, but oh, what was I gonna say? Yeah, not sure.
It's gone.
It's off into the world.
W- w-
But I can't tell you how many thousands of songs or lyrics or whatever um that I reference back to in my mind because they taught me something about myself, or something about the truth of existence. And I think that that's the mark of great art. It it makes you think about those things. Um, and there's obviously a place for other things. There's a place for less mindful, less thought provoking art. And that's usually what makes money.
This is wow. The way
There's
to
money to be made
yeah, right.
in mindless.
Yeah, mindless entertainment or distraction even.
Yeah, and I'm not, and I consume plenty of that. There's no shame in it necessarily. Um, but
Yeah.
yeah, I find that as a writer,
Mm,
things come out in what I write long before I actually understand them. It I because I'll find myself trying to explain how I'm feeling about a situation or something, and I'll have to reference back to something that I wrote, a year, 2 years ago, and realize that sums it up perfectly, and it always seems to be ahead of me. Um, so I do like to think that that means that there's some profound element to what I'm doing. Um, and if and again, it's one of those things where if it only helps me, that then it was still for something.
mm,
But yeah, I've always that's another part of my definition of success would
mhm.
be to make anyone else feel less alone or more understood, because it's harder to be understood. um would just be to make anybody else feel the way that all that music that saved my life made me feel, you know.
Sharing the feeling of belonging with those who
Yeah,
need it.
absolutely.
So we all want it on some level. We all need it on some level. Still being social creatures and the like.
Mm-hmm.
And this is mm, related to, but not quite on what we're talking about. But do you quote your own lyrics to people?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
All right.
Um,
I feel less bad
yeah,
about
I know
doing that.
that. Right. Me too. Now that I know,
Right. Less
but
alone.
yeah, that's just like I said. It's something where I have to go back to that because I I can't put things into words as well outside of song form.
Mhm.
That's where everything comes out. So I usually just have to end up referencing back to that to convey things. So it's like I've had to, qualify that so many times throughout my life. Like, I'm not being egotistical, trying to I'm not trying to be anyway, by referencing back to my music, but that is the only way that's the best I've been able to articulate what I'm feeling.
Mm,
So it's useful for communication, but it can be a little off.
sure. I mean, that one's just gotta kind of this is this is the thing with art in general, I guess, but that like when you put something into the public consciousness that it then is no longer your brainchild anymore, that
Hmm.
the village, the society is gonna tear it apart and let you know how they feel about it if it's
Hmm.
uh divisive or controversial or any of those things or a strong emotional charge behind them, good or bad, that it's gonna make people feel a type of way.
Yeah.
And what the heck? Where was I going with that? I mean, I guess this is where we can go with it. I don't know if this is where I was going,
Yeah.
but
Well, I think it's a beautiful thing that, yeah, once something is out in the world, people can make whatever they want out of what you said. And it doesn't, yeah, it because there's a lot of things that I've written that have been misinterpreted, but in what way is somebody else's interpretation wrong? It's art.
sure.
Art is open to whatever you think it's about, in my experience. Um, so yeah, it's a it's a good thing, I think.
Yeah, definitely is thought provoking. It can be. Um,
Hmm.
there's always the thing of like you could ask the artists themselves and be like, "What the fuck was like? What was this about?"
Yeah. Hmm.
And then as long as they're like, that's always that. I think that's the thing. That's like if I could make a distinction there, because yeah, everything is open to interpretation until the person's like, "No, this is what it was." But then
Yeah.
people can still hold on to like, well, this is what it means to me, and the internal meaning can be different than what the external meaning was attempting to like portray, I guess.
Yeah.
But where I was, what I was saying, or trying to get to, I don't even know. That the less than cordial or not to say that they're not polite, but the critics, man, the people who are
Hmm.
feeling some type of way of I don't know. How do you navigate that minefield of what can be a minefield of criticism?
Um, I think especially, um, I'm gonna circle around somehow here. Um, in like the digital age of, people feeling like they can say whatever they want, um, about you because it's not to your face and they can't see how you feel. That's one thing. That hasn't happened to me very much because I'm not on a larger scale,
Mm,
you know. Um, and then people usually are not going to be, so I think that's one thing. And then people usually are not going to be that harsh to your face.
right.
So I would say that I haven't dealt with very much of that in my life so far. What I have dealt with is years of trying to figure out why people don't get it. Why people aren't hearing what I'm putting in
Mm,
to things. Um it's and that's that can't be summed up very easily either. Like I find that like our live shows have always gotten positive reactions and things, and then it's so difficult when there's so much out there to listen to because like we kind of addressed earlier. um it, I feel guilty about not being able to listen to all these great artists that I wish I knew more about, but it's so difficult to get somebody to out to the show in the first place. That's difficult. But then for them to go home and actually put on the record and familiarize themselves with the songs. So I think it's just inherently hard to do.
mm,
Um, but then, yeah, you just have to wonder why, comparison is the thief of joy, but you do it anyway. Where you can look at, because, you look at other artists that are having success and you just wonder what about that could possibly be better than what I'm doing. And
yeah.
it's yeah, and then like that sounds egotistical, but
Well, I mean,
I don't I don't mean it that way.
there's like of a how much of a backing by the industry do they have, you know? Like,
Yeah, you have to wonder, and do they come from money? Because I sure as hell don't.
right. Can't all be Taylor
You know,
Swift.
yeah,
Can't all be Taylor Swift, that's for
it's
goddamn sure.
yeah.
And
You
if you
always
want
have
to,
to wonder.
yeah, I mean, if you want to get like super crazy into it, there's a seemingly tangled mess of web of interconnecting between the annals of power of intelligence agencies, alphabet soup governments, things, and people that are make it really big in
Hmm.
who are famous in all the different arenas that people worship these quote unquote
Yeah,
idols or pop stars or whatnot.
100%. I think music is the most powerful cultural tool that we have. Um, and the powers that be, if you will, you know, aren't going to leave that up to chance. Um, there's yeah, there is a certain level of fame that you don't get to um without being wrapped up in some things.
Yeah, no, definitely. Some way, shape, or form. You get your oh, what is the word? You have blackmail that exists in some way, shape, or form that like
Hmm.
people like Epstein collect and use to make sure that you don't go against the hands that feed or doling out
Yeah.
the dollars that make your career.
I mean, yeah, there's something out there on everybody, you know. Nobody's lived a perfect life, you know. So, if somebody needs something from you, there's always something you can find.
I'm a saint, dude. I don't know what you're talking about. They got nothing on me.
And I'm not trying to dig up anything.
No, I know. Not yet. Not yet, right? Until once I
Yeah.
started
I don't know. Just if anybody's listening, I of course am perfect. There's,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
you
Yes.
can't find any dirt on me, but
Two perfect people right here. Never done anything wrong. Nothing to
no.
be
This is
investigated.
the first time in history two perfect human beings have been on a podcast
Exactly. Exactly,
together.
dude. It's fucking first time for everything, right? First time for everything.
Yeah.
Hmm. There was a someone I talked to, fuck, how many episodes ago was it now? I don't even know. But it was definitely Melissa West was her name. I can't remember the number. This is episode 50, which I forgot to do
Hey,
this in the
let's
intro.
go.
But yeah, dude, I'm like two
Half a
away.
century.
Yeah, literally, dude, two away from technically having one every week. If I had stuck to the original thing of being able to get
No, nice.
one every week for an entire year. Uh,
Yeah.
but we're getting there. We're two away now officially. And but to the point
Awesome.
of Melissa West, she did a very big, I don't know if study is the right word, or just in her art, sainthood, or this idea of like what it is to be a saint, kind of
Interesting.
influenced uh, her life or her art, and something not to say it's something that I grapple with or like want for myself, but I think it would be an interesting position to be in of like because it's definitely like a moral authority for better or worse that people like uh, Joan of Arc or Jesus. I don't know if Jesus is even considered a saint. He might be a little bit more because of being the son of God or what have you in
Yeah.
that
It all
theology. But
depends on the sect of,
yeah, right.
you know. Yeah.
But it's I feel like in the modern world, and maybe we can try to tie this into either AI or what you had been said earlier about like live music that
Mm.
the brain rot or the corrupting ever corrupting power of shadow governments or whatever the fuck um like definitely wouldn't or don't enjoy um saints, I guess. Like I think they prefer martyrs over saints because like a saint is gonna like try to hold you to a living or like a standard, where a martyr
Yeah.
is like they did the thing or they were in the process of doing the thing, and then like Martin Luther King being assassinated by the FBI
Mm.
or JFK by the CIA, like these people were doing this more saintly thing of trying to like push the status quo or make people like question the narratives of their times,
Mm.
and then like became martyrs because they did their piece.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm supposed to tie that into the thing I said.
I think that is an interesting point. I think um like as far as art goes, I personally I enjoy art that's from like flawed people and flawed perspectives and stuff that's going to challenge you. You know, I think I'm not sure how to put that. I think like I said about art reflecting life. Life is dirty. Life is messy. Um and and art should reflect that. And yeah, you don't want to put across something that is squeaky clean in art. Um, there's nothing, just nothing goes that way. nothing is nothing's a one straight clear path in life.
Yeah. There's if it was, you'd be dead. Yeah, if you imagine a heartbeat, even a heartbeat goes up and down.
Hmm.
And there's that probably put it on the screen as I'm talking about it, but the it's like a physics experiment or something, or like where they drop two balls and like the one ball goes down like a smooth track and the other one goes on a
Yeah,
track that's like a wave and that one goes faster forward and backwards. And I imagine it more as like a spiral of life that you're just like sometimes you're going up the spiral and sometimes you're going down the spiral. And you learn more from the uncomfortable downward trends of the spiral,
yeah,
but life feels pretty great when you're going up the spiral and seeing that growth and changes and progressions forward.
yeah. And yeah, in so many ways, it's not about what happens to you. It's about what you learn from it, and it's about it's about how you respond. Because curveballs get thrown at everybody, and
True.
bad things are done, and you do bad things. Not us, because we're perfect,
Of course.
um, but yeah, it's all about how you move forward, and and for me, that's always had a lot to do with what I write about. I write about things so that I can leave them there, so I can leave them in the past and in the song and drop that weight.
Yeah, there's a beauty in being able to do that, like process this whole thing through creating something and then just revisit it as you need. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I have a song that I made, which originally wasn't even gonna be on the first album that I put out. But like there was like a hiccup and I had to delay it by a year. And then my father passed away and I just wrote the song to help me like process that experience, traumatic event. And now every time that the anniversary comes around or it gets closer to that time, I can cry a little bit and play the song and sing along and
Mm-hmm.
have a take a generally more uncomfortable, difficult, painful thing and turn it into this beauty that I can experience.
Yeah, yeah, I think that that's really important to be able to do that, and it's saved me on many occasions.
Right. Mm.
Um, yeah, I find anniversaries affect me deeply, and it'll be little things, even like I'll wonder why is this on my mind constantly, or why am I feeling this way, and just look at the date and go, oh, 4 years ago today, this or whatever. It yeah, and I've been told that they're like, are you just using that as an excuse to feel bad? And I'm like, I don't think so. Why would I? I don't even know that it's happening until I look at the date.
Right. No,
So
our minds and our DNA and our cells have a memory. So like, and
yeah,
depending on how woo woo you want to get, that the alignment of the stars and the way
yeah,
that the like you get to a certain part of the rotation of the sun around the moon around or the earth around the sun, if it is
yeah.
even is that way, unless the world's flat or what have you.
Plenty
Uh,
of theories out there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm not. I don't even know what I am or what I am not anymore. But to the point of
That's
that
fair. Mhm.
influence of these things and our own DNA ha remembers and holds on to these things
Yeah.
very deeply because they matter to us, and that like at some point we're not gonna get where there's gonna be a finish line. There's the end of our beingness here. Because I'm not signing up to go into any digital downloaded hell. Like if Black Mirror or
Oh no.
any of those
No,
things,
no.
right? I'm like I'm not putting my consciousness anywhere except for back to where it belongs
Yeah. Mhm.
after being a human being
Yeah.
for
Totally,
however long.
totally agree.
Yeah, dude.
Um, but that's really interesting. I've never thought about it like that. If you're in the same position physically in the universe,
Right.
it's always moving. But yeah, when the if the Earth is physically reaching that point in its revolution, yeah, and your body is holding on to that, that's really interesting. Um, yeah, that there could be a physical element.
Yeah, thing to think about. Thing to think about.
Yeah.
Maybe big if true.
And why? Because like big if true.
Big if true.
um, because yeah, it's like why do you sometimes like feel the need in my experience, like you end up in the same places at the same times in the year and things. It's just it's just odd. I've like often feel like that is controlling me, and
Mm.
I'm not controlling it.
I don't know, man. It's we're seasonal beings as much as now that we've moved away from being so not dependent on the natural world because we still are, but like
Hmm.
there's still that we've created this insulation of civilization where like eh, crazy animals that can kill us far away, food brought to us in stores, work for
Right.
money,
Hmm.
industrialization disconnected us from like I don't know, understanding or being aware of how the this is yeah. Science says if we can only see 4 to 5% of the universe, like there's a whole 95% like of all the matter that's out there that like could be playing a much more gra bigger or grander impact upon us than we are aware of because
Yeah.
we can't
Then we realize.
measure it tangibly
Yeah.
with our senses.
There's just too much out there.
Yeah, I don't know if the quote unquote if that there this is all there is, um, then somehow that's supposed to mean that it's all just pointless or that you're just a meat suit with hormones and reproduction is just for propagating and continuing the species, perpetuating it. But
Yeah.
if there is a higher, deeper, more important meaning, how do we figure out what that is and live our lives according to the quote unquote either the plan or the I like to believe in more of like a soul contract kind of setup that like you incarnated here with specific things, incarnated here with specific things, and
Yeah.
that like we're attempting to live up to that agreement between the infinite self of us and our finite self here. It's a fun thing. This is a quote from a friend of mine who maybe one day I'll have him on the podcast. I don't know, but the one thing that makes us all the same is that we're completely unique,
Hmm.
and I love that paradoxical
Yeah, I do love that.
truth. We're just stuck with each other for a blink in the cosmic timeline.
Yeah. But it's what we have right now. So, I do think it's deeply important to, carry out what is set in front of you and to the best of your ability, and also don't not to suppress um creativity emotion. You know, it's like it's feel everything, create everything that you can.
But and on that note, I got the last two questions. Uh, so the previous guest wanted to know.
Can you tell us about the last good sunrise or the last good sunset that you saw or witnessed?
Fantastic.
Good sunrise or sunset. Well, I would say sunset when I went back. I was with my sisters in Chicago, um, seeing the Oasis reunion, and we were on our drive back to Nashville, and yeah, there was a beautiful sunset. You know, just um, over the cornfields and stuff. But then my sisters, being sisters, um, started bickering about because I think one of them said, "Oh, look at the sky," and then like 5 minutes later, the other one goes, "Oh, look at the sky," and she's like, "I just said that. I already said that." Um, and then that went back and forth for a while. Um, so that was memorable. It's one of those little moments. Um, but all because of the sunset.
Gotta love sisters, man. Gotta love sisters. Um, I it feels uncouth to answer this question, but because I was also thinking about what I would say, and I guess I will now that I'm in it. But I was driving. I think I was driving to this ayahuasca retreat center that I facilitate at. Um, used to, still do, kind of taking a break right now. But the point being that I just remember seeing this like sunset that reminded me of this album cover that I'll put on screen. I can't remember the name of the album right now, but it has this song on it called Big Songbirds Don't Cry. And I love that song a lot. So it's just verbs very like awesome. And I think I was on the phone with my friend, um, who I was moving to Hawaii to like help him build his house and I'm gonna live in Hawaii for a while with him. So a lot of
I lived in Hawaii for 4 years.
sick, dude. I'm trying to do 10 in theory. We'll see.
Yeah.
But so now that we are here in our perfection, the final question is when our perfect form fails us and we have to move on to the next wherever the soul goes, back to the source. If this were to happen right immediately as soon as I stopped hitting the recording button, what piece of wisdom, knowledge, insight would you want to leave as a memento or legacy to that would be if it could be and would be shared with the whole rest of the world of all the other people who got to live their lives? What would you want that to be for the people right now here listening to us?
Um, I think something that you know I didn't stumble upon this, but that I've learned that has been put in the music a lot for that very reason, that it's something that I want everybody to hear. Um, is this general idea that stop fighting each other
Hmm.
but that sounds kind of cliche, but um yeah, the everybody is capable of good and evil, and that um it's in you and it's in everybody else, and just to understand that and treat people with kindness, because you don't know, you don't know anything. Can you know anything?
And you know, all I
Mm,
know is that I don't know.
exactly. um but yeah, I mean that was the concept of Who We Are, the song that you found. um and
Wow.
yeah, because I wanted to look at both sides of that idea, um diving into the dark side and the light side of that, and how it you'll be angry with yourself, you'll be angry with other people, but then you can find understanding and empathy for both yourself and others when you realize that we're all the that it's within all of us to do great things and to do horrible things. So I guess that's a really long-winded
You're good. That was beautiful. Very
piece of
egalitarian, and I think I had been thinking about this earlier today or yesterday or something, that there's this respect is supposed to be a two-way street, and no authority figure, when you have to when the appeasement of authority is a survival mechanism. It isn't like there is no, um, as much as we uh, glorify or deify the government in the modern secular world, that there is no true authority that you need to bend the knee to, except for yourself and the OTG, the one true God, or however you interpret that concept in your life, and that you gotta, at the end of the day, make peace with how you live your life, and hopefully do right by yourself and your loved ones and your community at large. If I could
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, how about
spout
you?
my own nonsense for a moment, my own perfect nonsense.
Perfect nonsense.
Perfect
That's good.
nonsense.
Write that down. Um,
I will. I will.
but
Perfect
yeah,
nonsense.
making just making peace with the world that you were put into. And seems to be the theme today.
Maybe it'll be in the title of the podcast. Who's to say?
Yeah.
See what the AIs
Um,
come up with.
yeah.
But
See what AI comes up with.
Ti-
Um,
Tim, tell the people, now that we're finally at the end here, maybe, where the
maybe.
people can find you, and what they're gonna find when they get there, and how they can support you, and all of that wonderfulness.
You can find me at Timothy Morris Music on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. And then from there, you should be able to find everything I've done. But um, there's music out under both Timothy Morris and the Timothy Morris Band, um, on like any streaming service, anywhere you can find it. Um, and then yeah, but if you give me a follow, you'll see like the other bands I play with and collaborations and whatnot. Like the like my sister Faith September, her EP, my brother's band, The End of the World. I've played on his stuff. Um, Bobby Kitchens and the Dirty Dishes is another band I'm in. Um, and that is his real name.
Shit, that's even cooler.
I'll tell you what, people have like heckled him on stage,
Oh,
like,
I'm sure.
"Is that your real name?" He's like, "I can show you my ID."
Right. It's right there, man. It's
But
who I
it's
am.
yeah, the Dirty Dishes. Um,
Phenomenal.
but yeah, that at Timothy Morris Music, and, and do the dive from there.
All right, people. You heard it. You heard it here. I don't know about first, but you heard it here most definitely, because I heard it. Unless you're deaf, and then if you're deaf, I don't know why you're trying to listen to a podcast.
Yeah. and
So
let and let me know where we should come play.
right, leave a
Come see
comment.
us.
Let us
Yeah.
know, and I'll pass it along if not, definitely. So you know what's good, people. Check his stuff out. It's been appearing on the screen as he's been saying it. It's in the description. Easy clickable links for you, for me, for everyone. But yeah, if you want to support me and in this show, subscribe on the YouTubes, or get on the Patreon, and let me know what you want, or who I should interview next. I never even thought about this until just now, that other people might want me to talk to other people. That's a crazy notion that just crossed my
Listen.
mind. But we'll end with the way we always end all of this weird shit that I do of recording myself and putting it on the internet for other people to look at, maybe. Smile more, complain less, never, ever, ever give up until you discern it's for your darndest best. Namaste. Have a great day. Slav Shun if it's nighttime soon. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Keep the algorithm oh so satisfied. And if I don't see you while I'm alive, I'll catch you on the flip side after I die. Live light, travel light, be the light. Do good, be good, feel good, and fucking whatever you do, do it well and take it easy, but remember to fucking take it because the medicine that you fear to take is the shit that you probably need in your life. And just if you're going through it, take a fucking break. All right, that's enough rhyming. I'm done. Thank you, people.